Hi guys, it's Sports Psych again. The sun is going down on this semester. It's been a long road, but we are near the end right now. So I know we're supposed to talk about leadership right now and then diversity issues. Really sort of running out of time now. I'm going to leave it up to you to look through the PowerPoints, read the text to get a sense of what is going on with these two issues. These topics in the text. There's a bunch of videos that I think are really good for you to get a sense of leadership issues and the ideas behind how leadership can be, what the theories are behind leadership and how leadership actually can be taught. One interesting tidbit, I guess, that I thought was sort of funny was that I used an example of Jay Cutler in his days on the Bears, using nonverbal communication in the wrong way. And just this week, Jay Cutler was trending again. Who knew? Okay, so I thought that was sort of, funny. Okay, all right. So, like I said, what I really want to do in this video is talk about the test itself. Okay, so just to ward, like I did last time with test 2, just to ward off any sort of questions that you might have, or at least troubleshoots any sort of questions that might come up. You can still ask me questions, email me questions. If you have anything about each one of those questions, just let me know. All right, so question number 1, I think it's pretty straightforward. What is the difference between support assertiveness, instrumental aggression, hostile aggression? We talk about that. There were 3 different points that segmented each one. Again, things like, is there anger involved? Is there not anger involved? What's the goal? What's the intent? Okay, so those are the things that you should focus on in chapter 1, question 1, excuse me, and then give me an example, one that or is hypothetical, or you can think of one that you remember from a particular play, from basketball or anything like that, from baseball, football, whatever you want to come up with. Just as long as you explain to me why it fits into that category. All right. Second part of that question was the idea of trash talking. Again, we talked about this. Well, I talked about it in my bad Jeff Denham impersonation, but. Is trash talking, one of these classifications? Or what you might even want to do is talk about, the overlap between each of these 3. We said that, these categories are fuzzy, right, in the sense that, there aren't like hard boundaries between each of these categories. So you may, come up with an example of trash talking and say it's an overlap between assertiveness or instrumental, or an overlap between instrumental and hostile. All right. So think about those. Again, like I said with the question, sometimes trash talking does involve some profanity. If you want to give me an example of like that, I'm not that sensitive, but you could probably use some asterisks or so to ease it up a little bit. All right. So I think that's pretty straightforward. Okay, question number 2. Let me double check my notes here. I think question number 2 is, the 4 strategies for reducing prejudice in sport, straight from the textbook. Okay, and it's good information to know. It certainly helps in a sports situation. And it's also based on social psychology research. All right, straight from the book. Again, 12-point question. Give me, like 3 points worth of information about each one. Don't just, give me one, sentence about each one, or you won't get full credit. Okay, number 3, problem solving in the softball, SV award-winning softball game. So, hopefully all of you had a chance to look at the Touching Them All video. Really, really an amazing event, and well done by ESPN. But look at my sportsmanship and cognitive psych chapter in the book, in the sportsmanship book. I step through that, step by step. I give you the examples that will match what you saw in the video. So again, as long as you've got that information, and the link is on the PowerPoints, just look that up and you'll be fine. Okay, number 4. Okay, I have videos about Charlie Sifford and Arthur Ashe. I really think that a lot of people don't know Charlie Sifford, and certainly don't know Arthur Ashe, which is really surprising to me. And I really don't want you to graduate from here, especially taking a sports psych course, without knowing at least Arthur Ashe, if not Charlie Sifford either. Again, these guys were pioneers in terms of African American sports, African American athletes in sports, especially the sort of the quote unquote country club sports of tennis and golf. Okay, so as mentioned in the video on Charlie Sifford, without Charlie Sifford, there is no Tiger Woods. Without Arthur Ashe, there's probably no Williams sisters. Okay, so again, the greatest athletes that we have in terms of tennis and golf, in sports today, would not exist without these two pioneers. All right, number 5, the ideas of passion by Villarand. Pretty straightforward. Again, we actually did this before we disbanded for this semester. Okay, so the only thing that I would mention about that is that each of the pieces of research that talks about this in terms of the interactional theory of personality doesn't. The book doesn't talk about them in the research in much detail. So don't give me a ton, because there isn't. Or don't think that I have to go look up more stuff. There it is. There's a piece of research associated with each one of those, but again, it's not a whole lot of detail. Okay, so don't worry about that. Number 6, the Tim Delaney interview. Okay, that was done by Daryl Reynolds. Okay, and Tim Delaney, that they graciously did for me for the Sportsmanship Day. Some of you are sports science minors know Tim Delaney, the professor in sociology, and it was just a nice thing, and really surprised Dr. Delaney that we did this. All right, but over and on top of that, a lot of what we're covering is in that video, in that interview. Okay, so I think you'll be able to pick out those things that we were mentioning. Okay, all right. One thing to again, not a lot of people have NCAA championship basketball rings. Tim Delaney, the basketball player, not the sociology prof, actually has 2 rings, so that's pretty cool. All right. Okay, so again, I think those are pretty straightforward. I think you'll know what I'm referring to in terms of the thought stopping. What is the word and what's the action that Tim Delaney does talk about. Okay. All right. Number 7, the leadership question. Okay. What's nice about the Coach K video is that it really hits this idea of structure and consideration. Okay, so I think that's really straightforward. You can guys let me know if it's not. It's this video where we got Chris Paul talking to young JJ Redick. So it's sort of cool to see them in their younger days talking about this. Okay, match that up to the information in the textbook about structure and consideration. Both of those are really, really straightforward there. Okay, and how leadership can be taught, good news that you can use. Okay, especially if you're going to go into coaching or in business or anything like that. These are really important things that gets at the point that leadership can be taught. There are things that you can do to get better at being a leader. Okay, so that's question number 7. Question number 8 basically is building your own essay question. Really, at this point, what I want you to do is think of 2 concepts that really spoke to you in this course. Make this question your own. Make it like, this is really what I want to get out of the course. This is what I want to move forward with in terms of the information in this course. So again, if you're thinking about coaching at some point, okay, or if you're thinking about any sort of activities that you might be doing, okay, even in business, leadership ideas are going to be important. So think about how you can use this information in the course. If you're an athlete, if you think that imagery can be useful to you, okay, so use any of those things that you've learned and apply them and say, all right, not only this is why I want to know this information, but how can I apply it? And show me. This is the key thing. Show me that you've learned something in this course. Don't just say, oh, I really like the PETLEP strategy, and leave it at that, because I can use it for a number of different things. You have to, if you pick something like that, you have to show me what all the steps are in PETLEP and why you can use this. Okay, so I hope that's pretty clear. Like I said, you can pick anything, even if we haven't covered it. If you want to talk more about diversity, pick something from the diversity chapter. That's great. Okay, or anything about leadership. If you want to, if you're watching The Last Dance, for example, and you want to say, hey, I saw the Phil Jackson episode, and I want to talk about how Phil Jackson exhibited all these things that we're talking about in terms of leadership in the text. That's cool too. Okay, anything along those lines. All right. So really, take it to the heart, and this is your chance to show me that you learned something and you really reflected on the course and what you wanted to get across. What you want to come away with in terms of this course. And the last two items are just fun, little multiple choice things. So again, I hope you had fun with that. I gave you a number of songs, badly sung, of course, but so those are the options that you have. Okay, and speaking of songs and team cohesion, just one more song lyric to leave you with today and tonight. Remember, in terms of team cohesion, everything is awesome. Everything is cool when you're part of a team. Everything is awesome when you're living out the dream. And who's that by? It's by Tegan and Sarah. All right, from the Lego Movie. Yay! All right, so take care, everybody. I'll give you one more lecture probably tomorrow. Enjoy, and let me know if you have any questions about the test. Okay, take care, everybody. Good night.